It is 8:15 p.m. Wednesday, June 11th, and the Indiana Pacers are up 2-1 in the NBA Finals. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to FTG Weekly. This is where I'm just going to have a structured stream of consciousness on news, things I think about all three of the major sports, baseball, basketball, and football. Maybe even sneak in some soccer in there if it's the Euros or anything of that sort. I know we have the World Cup coming up, but man, in what world did anyone think that the Indiana Pacers would be up 2-1 after Game 3 of the NBA Finals? And just hats off to this team, man. Benedict Mathurin came out tonight and had 25 points, I believe. Tyrese Halliburton showed up and really kind of did earn his nickname The Moment, which I think it's really funny that the NBA is trying to push the nickname The Moment on us, as if NBA Twitter hasn't become a collective conscious of calling him the Halliban. And right now, the Halliban's up 2-1 on Al Shada. And I didn't think we'd be here. They're like breaking the consciousness, well, not the consciousness, it's a dumb word for this, but just like the idea that you have to have a superstar, a 1A, someone who's gonna get you a bucket every time down. Their best player is a playmaker. Their best player makes everyone else out there better. I'm really not a fan of the superstar talks with him. I don't think he's a superstar, because I think if some of these superstars like Luka, Brunson, Shea had these low scoring nights, because Tyrese's lows are so low. It just feels like if anyone else had a low Tyrese night, it would just get slandered. But when he does it, he's out there to make his team better. But even tonight, 22, 11, and 9, it's just, what else can you ask for from your guy? And Miles Turner had a couple clutch stops there at the end. That block on Chet and not let him get downhill. Just, man, this Pacers team is something special. And, man, I think I still have the Thunder winning the series. But, man, if the Pacers win Game 4, I can't do it anymore, man. I think Andrew Nembhard defensively is just something so fun to watch. This team that everyone talks about being so bad defensively, all they want to do is run the floor. They lock you up in the half court, man. Nembhard, Nesmith, Mathurin, even Ben Shepherd, these guys lock up, and they have one of the best defensive centers in Miles Turner, who is so severely underrated. You have Tyrese, who is voted most overrated, which is, I mean, I can't say much because at the time I agreed, but, man, he's showing that he is exactly who he needs to be. I don't think it's overboard at all to talk about him in these discussions as some of the best point guards in the NBA, but I can't hear these top 5 and top 10 players in the league discussion. I think he's like 7 through 9, maybe 10. But this run might just change that and just kind of put everybody's head in a different space with them. And, man, it's like a podcast I watch where it's like you got to really sit, and we might end up saying Tyrese Halliburton is an NBA champion, and that's something that I really didn't think I would say. And, man, I just have to talk about Reggie Miller being on the sideline in his own jersey. And you had him call the last series. I try to be unbiased here, man. But, man, this Pacers team is awesome. I'm not going to let any of that stuff try to cloud what's going on here. Do I still think the Thunder can take this series? 100% yes. I think it's the Thunder's series to lose. Still, even though the Pacers are up 2-1, if the Thunder win Game 4, I don't think anyone in the world still has the Pacers winning it all. But, man, every night they go out here and they really show why you should take them seriously. They are so good defensively. They run the floor hard, and they play ball right. Rick Carlisle has them boys coached, and they're deep. TJ McConnell had a couple awesome steals and is just playing hard. And And when it comes to the Thunder, man, I don't know what's wrong. It was a neck-and-neck game. It's on the road in the finals. I get that. And Cambridge Fieldhouse has been awesome throughout this playoffs. But something just wasn't there. There's just something not there with the Thunder. I don't know if it's that Chet and J-Dub just can't rise up to the moment enough. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something missing with this Thunder team that we all thought that they were going to just have and figure out. And that's what they've done. They're a young team, and when something hits them in the face, they usually figure it out, move on, and they're good to go. Now, with that said, I think the way that this series goes is everyone said that about Game 3. Whoever wins Game 3 is winning the series because historically 80% of the time the Game 3 winner wins the finals, right? But I think it comes down to Game 4 because home court is gone, right? Because if you win Game 4, the Thunder, then you go back to OKC, and if OKC win that, then it's 3-2, and it's probably going 7. Yeah, basically I think what's happening here is whoever, if it goes Game 4, if Indiana wins Game 4, I think they win the series in 6. But if the Thunder win Game 4, I think the Thunder win in 7 at home. I think that's the final thoughts. I think that's how that's going to go. Whoever wins Game 4 wins the series. I know it sounds so dumb, but it's how being a sports media person works. You kind of just have to say the obvious, but it just makes sense. Because I just don't see the Pacers losing Game 6 at home, and I don't see the Thunder losing Game 5 or 7 at home. Those travel spots back to your home court are so big, and I feel like good teams don't lose those travel spots back. Good teams can lose in those back-to-back 1 and 2, 3 and 4 sets, but I just don't know if good teams win this or lose the single games at home. But moving on from the NBA Finals, there's been a story that has been just as hot as the NBA Finals because the NBA Finals cannot keep doing this. We can't do 3 days in between every game. We can't. We can do it on travel days. I'm cool with that. But having to wait so long in between these games makes it so that other stories prevail through. And it doesn't feel like the finals is the most important thing in basketball when that's really what it is. But the media doesn't have enough on the finals to do 3 days in between games. It's or 2 days if you want to be like that, but it's every 3 days, man, and you can't do that because then the excitement and the media doesn't really know what to talk about, and it's not enough. It's just not enough basketball because one of the stories that shines through is my second basketball story of the day. Of course, as a Knicks fan, it's going to be this Knicks head coaching catastrophe, carousel. I don't know whether to have a positive or negative view on it. And at this point, if you don't want to hear me talk about the Knicks stuff, you can skip in the video. I'm going to put timestamps. But the Knicks have been asking, it feels like every NBA team, to interview their coach. They've talked to the Mavs for Jason Kidd, the Rockets for Ime Udoka, the Wolves for Chris Finch. Reports came out today as of Wednesday. Quinn Snyder, they denied it as well. I believe there was another coach involved as well. And it's just like, from the casual NBA fan, it's just like, oh man, they went out here without a plan. They have zero plan at all. Oh my God, why would you do that? But I don't think it's that. I think that's part of it. But I think that the Knicks have a candidate that they like and not love that is down to sign right now, but they're doing their due diligence, and they're going to go to all these established coaches. By the end of the week, I think 2/3 of the NBA teams will have been talked to and denied the Knicks talking to them, and it's going to be all established coaches. And I think it's going to come down to, do any of those teams let you talk to a coach, if they do and you like that, why not? If you have a list and the list of all your favorites are on teams, might as well go ask, because what if one team says yes and you get that upgrade over the guy that you have on your list that you know you like? Is it copium? Probably. But even in copium, there is signs of what can be. And I think what can be is, I believe, assistant Johnny Bryant is the guy that they know they can get. The guy that's on the list where it's like, hey, if all else fails, this is a great pick. We have people who already have been around him and love him. If you don't know who Johnny Bryant is, he is the current assistant for the Cavs, former assistant of the Knicks, and I believe assistant of the Jazz with Donovan Mitchell as well. Could be wrong. I'm not going to fact check myself, because why would I do that? But I just think that he fits what the Knicks are. Word is that he's an offensive scheme guy. He's gone to see the deeper rotations and less minutes for the stars, and has seen the Thibs defensive coaching style. So you're hoping he can meld what he learned through being an assistant into the head coaching endeavor. But it's not the sexy hiring you're expecting. Because if you fire Tom Thibodeau, who got you to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, you don't fire him without a for sure lock. And I think if you're not going the assistant route and you're going established head coach route, maybe Taylor Jenkins. Because I just don't think Mike Malone's the right fit. I just don't think, because if you're getting rid of Thibs for the minutes thing and the intensity and the way he talks to players, then you don't like Mike Malone. Because he's Thibs 2.0 in that scenario. It'll be interesting to keep tabs on that throughout the offseason. That's something that'll be brought up a lot on this show because, well, I'm a Knicks fan, and it's kind of just a really interesting thing of, like, you fired him during the finals. You didn't even wait to fire Thibs. You did it during the finals. Like, why? It doesn't make sense. We're going to keep tabs on that and the finals throughout. Well, by the time next week's episode comes out, I think the finals might be over, or it's going to be close. Moving into baseball, there's so much news in baseball. I can talk about some of the most surprising teams, disappointing teams. I mean, my St. Louis Cardinals are surprising the league, but the one thing I do want to talk about is the MLB hasn't signed a TV deal for the 2026 season, and it's like super fast approaching, like it's coming up. And not having a TV deal is crazy, like not having that done, because the NBA just did their thing with NBC. The NFL's been doing stuff with Amazon and a couple other places, and then the MLB, which is like in the dark ages when it comes to some of this stuff, man, is a little bit behind. They don't have a deal yet. From all the research I've done, which is not enough, honestly, Apple TV is said to be in the lead, with NBC kind of trying to get involved, which is so interesting, right? You have the NBA and MLB on NBC. That'd be kind of a big thing for them. That'd be kind of cool for them to have. Do I want that? I don't know. Do I want that? Do I really want it to be on streaming, though? Like, if Apple TV makes it readily available and not uber expensive, I love it. But the thought of the main TV deal for the biggest baseball organization in the world being on Apple TV it's just strange. Because, I mean, even if you're not into wrestling, you probably know Netflix has WWE, Raw, and it's slowly seeing streaming take over the space. You had Christmas Day on Disney Plus with the NBA and Netflix with the NFL, and NFL's been doing Amazon. And if MLB does go to Apple TV, it's an interesting route, and they seem to be in the lead, and I kind of like it. I like what they're doing UI-wise and HUD-wise. But it's just such a new ground. Like, but overall, is it good for baseball? And I think the answer to that is yes, because the younger generation is way more willing to watch a streaming service than open up a cable box, right? Like, you're not going to watch FanDuel Sports if you're 23 or under. Kids are going to be on Apple TV, Netflix, and these streaming platforms. So having the MLB be on that is a smart move from them, honestly. I just think the funniest part of all this is ESPN has just been throwing insulting offers out, is like what the word is. I think that's kind of just shows how much or how little ESPN really cares about baseball, which sucks. Oh, man, it really sucks. Speaking of ESPN, I saw a tweet, and it was just like $1 million idea where it was like, what if there was just a 24/7 ESPN channel, and it just like aired episodes from 2000 to 2018 and just threw a random one up 24 hours a day. It's $1 billion idea that they should take and pay, and not pay me for, honestly. They're not going to. Moving on, though. Football. NFL season's right around the corner, and one of the craziest stories to me is just the Bengals being the Bengals. One of the people in my fantasy league, former coworker of mine, is a big Bengals fan, and I haven't got to talk to him about this situation yet, but I just made a trade for T. Higgins in our Dynasty League, and me and him were talking about it. But T. Higgins has this whole contract thing, and if they're going to move him or not, and now the Bengals have a couple more contract things. They drafted rookie Shamar Stewart at the 17th pick, and he still hasn't signed. How bad of an organization you have to be to have a fixed dollar amount contract not be signed by now? And then the media starts like blaming Shamar Stewart for it, where it's like, what else could you want? You just got drafted. You can't change the money in it. And it comes out that the Bengals added a default clause that can void his guaranteed money. And they just thought that this young agent and rookie weren't going to see this and it be the new standard. And because the Bengals are putting this in hoping that they don't see it, so that they can start doing this to every player, so that if a rookie gets hurt, they don't have to guarantee him that rookie money. And it's super scummy. And it's super messed up. Like, why are you making this kid the guinea pig for you to try to screw over all these athletes? Not even mentioning that you have Trey Hendrickson still not signed to his extension. What are you gonna do about Hendrickson? That's one of your premier defenders. Actually your only premier defender. And now you have a rookie who doesn't even want to come play yet because you're adding default clauses, man. You just had this whole thing with T. Higgins. Oh, man. The Bengals just don't know what they're doing. It feels like they do this all the time. But yeah, the Bengals just need to figure it out, need to get this kid signed. But man, if I'm that kid, the first chance I have to get out, which in the NFL it's tough, but the first chance you have to get out, it makes you want to think you got to get out of this organization, and it just doesn't set a good precedent for free agents, for players who are going to do future interviews for drafts. They're going to see, are you going to do me like you tried to do Shamar? And it's just going to be a snowball effect, man, and it's really tough to see because I know Bengals fans. And this last story is going to be one that I didn't even really want to talk about, but I feel like I have to. Because if you know football, then you know about what I'm going to talk about is Aaron Rodgers joins the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, finally, like, thank you. You've been this is like we've known this is going to happen. Like, there was nowhere else he was going to go. Like, thank God. But man, that was exactly who they needed. It was exactly who they needed. You just draft Caleb Johnson. You bring in DK Metcalf. And everyone's saying you can't do it without a quarterback. Mason Rudolph can't lead you to the promised land. And, you know, Aaron Rodgers may be 40, and he may be one of the most insufferable people in the world. Man, is he awful to listen to talk about things sometimes. But, man, sometimes he can sling that rock. And the Steelers just needed somebody who could sling that rock. Man, it's going to be fun. That defense is going to be good, but then you start to think, like, are they really contenders in the AFC East? the AFC North. Are they contenders in the AFC North, right? You have the Ravens, you have the Bengals, and you have the Browns. The Ravens are still better than you. The Bengals' offense is just ridiculous. If they can get any shred of a defense going, man, they're electric. And the Steelers kind of fall into that third tier. They fall into that third tier of an elite defense, and the offense is still just a question mark because your starting running back is Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson, who's a rookie. DK is your true number one now, so that's good. But you kind of trade away George Pickens for nothing because you know that wide receiver room was a ticking time bomb set to implode. So, like, there's just so many options and so many ways it can go. And with the football season being so far away, it's so funny even talking about this topic. But with all that being said, that is FTG Weekly. Little roundup of the weekend sports. If you're still here, please like the video and subscribe. Thank you so much for making this far. Please go watch my last video, which was a love letter to the Knicks. I know it was a little long ago. Going to try to be a little more consistent. No promises, though. This is kind of the slop. Hey, I kind of just want to get a microphone in front of my mouth. And that video right there is kind of more of a thoughtful one of me kind of walking down a timeline, and kind of want to mix it up and do a little bit of both. Maybe even have some guests on for FTG Weekly, or maybe even do its own show. Let me know in the comments if you even make it this far. If you do make it this far, what was your favorite moment from this NBA season? That's how I know who the true heads are. But like I said, like, subscribe, and that was Dylan coming to you from the garage. Peace.